You guys requested it, so I'm back for my second video in a row. Dom's on vacation, so you guys got me. You requested a video on labral tear exercises, which we've done in the past, but let's update it and make it advanced. So you may or may not be ready for these, but they're gonna be throwing specific. Let's get into number one right here. So we wanna work on the front of the shoulder, the subscapularis, which is our biggest rotator cuff muscle, but it's gonna be the one that controls the arm as it falls back into layback. Now, we have to differentiate that from the big lat muscle, the big pec muscle. How do we do that? We do this with this extra band here. So we get a band around by the elbow, pulling that forward. That's gonna activate some of the deltoid muscles to help turn off those other ones that isolate that subscapularis. I squeeze the band and I'm doing internal rotation here. I keep my elbow inside 90 degrees and slightly pronated this way. So that wrist is flat and I'm coming in. I like to do sets of 15 here, keeping that elbow above the shoulder. That's the biggest fault we see, is that elbow dropping down, or people tricep pressing it out in front. So that elbow is about 15, 20 degrees in front of the body, and there's no up or down movement. It's a pure rotation, axial rotation around the shoulder. Subscapularis, 3 sets of 15 right there. Moving into now the back of the shoulder. So the back of the shoulder, I like basic stuff, most importantly first, and that's our 90-90 external rotation, where we're not shrugging at all, we're pushing out. I'm actually driving my elbow towards the camera there, and I'm coming up as high as I can. Now you may only get to here, but you've got range to get higher. Now if this is a little ouchy in the front of your shoulder, you've got a few options. Number one, just because you're pushing forward doesn't mean that shoulder comes down and forward. I can actually suck it back in the socket as I push out. That makes it a lot harder, for sure, but I can also roll back a little bit if I need and come up here. This is either gonna be easier or harder, depending on where you're weak. I would focus on where you're weak, but first of all, focus on where you're pain-free. Try to do a lot of sets here. 3 to 6 sets. I sometimes program 5 sets of 8. Now the rotator cuff is going to recover quicker than some of your large diameter muscles. Some of your muscles with more cross-sectional area, like your quads, maybe only once a week. Your rotator cuff, it's a little thinner, good blood supply to the muscle itself. Let's go 3 times a week here with all of these moves. So we're really going through 5 moves here, but I'm going to give you an alternative for both because we don't all have barbells at home. And I'm trying to get something that you guys can do at the crib. So here, I've got a band dumbbell. I'm not getting really high. I'm working on the end, that bottom end of the range of motion. Reaching out, no shoulder shrug. This is my deceleration. I'm in a decent little lunge. You can get further. If you've got a tight hamstring, go straight leg right there. Once you do as many as you can there, you drop the band and you go a little bit higher. No elevation here, shrugging. I'm reaching out as far as I can, and I'm repping that out for 10 reps after I fail with the band plus the dumbbell. Now, if you do have a barbell, let's jump into that. If you've been with us for a while, you've seen our deceleration row, which we do on a table with the dumbbell. Amazing exercise, but sometimes people say, well, I don't have a bench where I can actually go low enough to do it. So we've got the barbell. Now here, no shrugging. I've got to reach out as far as I can, comes down towards this hip. A little bit harder here, slightly easier here, and then once it becomes easy for me with this weight, that's when I add a 2.5 pound plate to the barbell. Now, let's say you're not strong enough yet for a barbell. That's okay. Here's your adaptation. Check out the band here. This band makes it a little easier as I hit that tough point of the exercise. And then as I get stronger, I just decrease the stiffness or the strength of the band until I can do it with no band. Now, if you're ready, start adding weight. I got 15 pounds on there. This is pretty heavy, especially if you do it right. Now, if you just kind of control it down, that's not hard. If you're gonna reach out the whole time, reach, that's a heavy load. So what do we recommend here from a strength perspective? Let's try to start with 5 sets of 5. And then we can go 5 sets of 8, add some more load, so on. Maybe we're doing 3 sets of 12 in the future, or maybe we're doing 2 sets in season, But strength, little lower rep, little higher volume as far as sets go, and we'll do pretty well. Let's go into one of the exercises that we actually find most difficult for our athletes. It requires nothing except for a pillowcase or a little towel. So we got a towel here, we got a wall, window, whatever you need. You're gonna go on the wall with your elbows. Now I see this exercise done wrong so much, so let's focus on how we're doing this. So we get tension between the hands. I'm trying to get my elbows inside of my wrist, so more external rotation. So now I'm activating the rotator cuff as I push the wall over. So I'm protracting, round that upper back, tuck the butt under, externally rotate, rip that towel, push the wall over with the elbows, but the wrists are off the wall. Small range, and if you're doing it right, you're gonna get like 4 or 6 reps. If you're letting your lumbar spine extend, you're pushing on it with your wrist, that's easy. If you're losing your external rotation, so say you're doing this, easy. That's garbage reps. We don't do those around here. So we worked on the front, the serratus, external rotation, all of the different rotator cuff muscles. Let's work a little bit into upward rotation with retraction as opposed to protraction, which we did here. So now we're doing a seated Y, pulsing. You guys are gonna say, well, this was advanced exercise. I think this is for a lot of people because they've never exposed their shoulder to a posterior tilt of the scapula where it comes down. So are there more advanced exercises? 100%. But most people aren't able to even do this properly. And I see athletes all across the spectrum, all the way up into the professional ranks that can't do this. So what you're gonna do is grab this band, pull it apart slightly. I'm sitting on it, I'm gonna hinge forward, externally rotate. That's gonna pin that medial, that inside border of the shoulder blade down. I have to come back. This right here is no good. I have to get to my end range flexion. And when I do that, the shoulders have to come down, and almost I'm taking the shoulder blades from here, where they're kind of rolled forward, to tuck them this way. Boom, as I come up. So now I'm tucking those shoulders, externally rotating as far as I can, and then I'm pulsing. And if you don't think this is advanced, do a set of 50 or 100. Now, I could follow this up with something that's higher load for the low traps to hypertrophy it, but I need to train that shoulder how to sit. I've had people that have done eccentric Ys, super heavy stuff with their incline Y. They're doing all these low trap rows. They do 50 with a little yellow band, and they're sore for 4 days. Why? Because their shoulder has never experienced getting to end range position the way we want it to. So once again, hinge at the waist, sit on that band, full rotation out, shoulders depressed, tuck those shoulders back. I'm not pulling with the shoulder movement, I'm pulling with shoulder blades. I should feel a squeeze, a hard squeeze, mid to lower upper back, right? So middle of the shoulder blade down. That's your 5 exercises for labral tears. To be honest, some of you guys aren't ready for some of these. That's fine. If you need something that's a little bit more rudimentary or introductory, check out some of our other clips. Check out our Arm Care Complete free program on our website, overheadathletics.com. Subscribe to the channel because we're going to come out with more videos on this stuff. If you liked it though, thumbs up. That tells YouTube you like what you saw, and we'll also look at that and make more videos like this in the future. See you guys in the next one.